Punk Rock Elite, a podcast about NoFX. Well, look at this. I can't believe it. This statement is just 0000.
Oh, no. Is that... Oh, no.
Raid.
That's awful.
Coffers are empty over at Punk Rock Elite Towers.
Well.
I've had a look in the tin. Nothing. I've had a look behind my favourite poster, not telling you which. Nothing. And I hate to say it, but been on the blower to TSB. Absolutely zilch.
Well, you're going to have to start selling your body, Eddie. One kidney at a time.
One kidney at a time. In order to stop us from having no money in the bank. Oh, I see what I've done. But I do have some money in the bank. What we have today are our special guests, no money in the bank.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. No, I get you now.
I should have noticed from the brackets. But we have got emo comedy double act, no money in the bank, as our special guests today, which is exciting, isn't it?
Absolutely. Lovely pair of lads.
Yes.
Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Yes, thank you. What have you been up to before we head over yonder?
I have been busy writing a pantomime, which...
Of course you have.
I'll be performing in the Contact Theatre in Manchester this Christmas. It's Cinderella this year, which means I'm returning to my favourite panto role of Buttons. And been adding, writing a lot of really cheesy gags for the panto. And I've been getting really stuck into that. And yeah, and also I've been to so many weddings. I'm going to a wedding next week. Did a wedding last week. I'm fucking sick of weddings. Can everyone just stop, please?
I was going to say, well, do you know what it was, Red? I don't know if you noticed, but people were getting a bit sniffles a couple of years back. People were getting a bit of the old coughs and sneezes, spread diseases. So
Yeah.
So we've had what would be the normal weddings, weddings that we would regularly have, and then all of these other rescheduled ones on top.
Yes. Oh, yeah. So we're getting like double, aren't you? Because you're right. Because my friend Sam Gore is a fantastic comedian.
Yes.
He had to reschedule his wedding a couple times. So yeah, we sort of
he's had a peculiar run of luck for as far as weddings go, but they're his stories to tell.
Oh yeah, forgot about all that.
Yeah, he hasn't. Should say Sam Gore is the brains behind ICU, the internet celebrity / political horror stories, and IC News, the podcast on which Red and I both appear sometimes.
Yeah, a fantastic writer, great comedian. Please do check out IC News. Also, I got to see Sam on the weekend.
Cool.
We all went round to his house and well, we took a lot of acid, but let's not get into that. Let's not go all coaster on you and tell you how brilliant the being inebriated is.
Being high is fun, actually, reads headline on the Daily NoFX. I'm just imagining lots of fat mics in lab coats, just looking at beakers and going, "Wait a minute, I think this might be enjoyable." It's a wonderful world. Yes. So okay. So you've been just doing the wedding circuit.
Yeah. Just putting my time in, putting my hours in. And my girlfriend's been a maid of honor twice this year.
Wow. And you, maid of shame.
Yeah. Very true, yeah.
I like it. The last wedding I went to, which was, when was it? May? June? No, it was in June.
Uh-huh.
I had no official role, which was brilliant. So enjoy myself. Although I was doing that stupid dieting thing, so I couldn't even enjoy a nice drink because I don't have a drink very often. But I thought I don't even have to, drive or do anything that day, so I could have enjoyed it, but I was doing the stop be fat diet. It's not what it's called, and it prohibits booze. So I knew that I was going to be my friend Dylan Indian. So I knew that the food was going to be Indian, and that is some of my favorite food. So I knew I was already going to break the diet food wise. I thought if I was going to sling booze on top of that, it's probably irresponsible. So
yeah.
So instead, I ate a lot of curry. So,
But what have
happy
you
enough.
been up to this week?
Gosh, I've been. Let me just double check the diary. I'll tell you what I have been doing. I mean, earlier this week, I put together in a single afternoon 7 wardrobes.
Wow.
Yes, in my handy them capacity. Some people thought they needed 7 wardrobes in their house all at once. And the only drawback to building 7 wardrobes in a room slightly bigger than 7 wardrobes is that every wardrobe you makes it harder to build the next one, as there is much less space all round. So
Of course.
I was mainly playing IKEA Tetris.
And you've got a Pride gig coming up this weekend as well?
I've got a Pride gig tomorrow as we record, but it'll have been a few days ago. Yes, I'll be at Birmingham, Cannock, actually, Cannock, which is where my
north of Birmingham,
where my maternal grandmother lives. She doesn't live. My maternal grandmother was from, so it'll be a strange homecoming, representing a community she had little to no understanding of. So that'll be fun. Yes, I'm looking forward to that. And then I am. No point telling you about that gig because that will happen the day before it comes out. But I'm in Stockton then. But I am. Yeah, I've got nothing much coming up really. In a couple of weeks, in Stockton again, and a family improv show. Don't come to that. But yeah,
Ooh, I've actually got some exciting news that we could pop here right before the start of the episode.
Let's do it.
We've been asked to book the comedy stage for Manchester Punk Festival again.
Oh, yay!
So over the next couple of weeks, I'll be finalising the lineup for that. Myself and Eddie, as long as they're free, will be appearing.
I will be, because I've seen the dates of Manchester Punk Festival, which have just been announced. It is Easter weekend, 29th to the 31st of March.
Yes.
The lineup is being announced soon.
Yeah, I was just going to say on the 18th, which I think is a week after this is released.
But you'll be listening to this on the 4th, so it's 2 weeks.
Of course.
So 2 weeks from today, the initial lineup, I'm sure bands will be added after that, but the big uns, I imagine, will be announced. And it's always a fantastic weekend. So get your early birds. I seem to remember £90 being a thing.
Yeah, I mean, like they always
the
do.
Birds,
it's always worth catching the early birds for this festival. It is a very fairly priced festival, but if you do get the early birds, it's an even fairer price.
Yes, it's if anything, it's slightly unfair, but to Manchester Punk Festival. So,
we will be having one, maybe two of the organisers on the podcast soon.
Yes, absolutely. And there's even talk of potentially some sort of live Punk Rock Elite event.
Yes.
So we'll see what we can do with that, which would be very, very exciting. But Red and I will be doing stand-up there, even if we're not in the full Punk Rock Elite Voltron of combining ourselves. Obscure reference even by my own, but I keep forgetting we're, it's mainly elder millennials who listen to this because we're talking about NoFX, so Voltron is a perfectly valid reference to make. Yeah, so that's exciting. I don't want to put a downer on anything, but I've been lightly upset this past week by a particular number. That number is 3.7.
Oh, okay.
Now, I don't know, but if you have 2 sets of 5 and 1 set of 1, and you average that out, it's 3.7, which is why on Apple Podcasts at the moment, we are rated a 3.7 on account of having 2 5-star reviews and 1 1-star review.
Basically, I think what Eddie is trying to say is, please, 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 give us the reviews that we so strongly deserve.
Could we please try and drag that up into the 4s at least? I'd be absolutely fine if we were in the 4s. If you were thinking of getting around to reviewing us or giving us a star rating on whatever podcast app you use, then now's a brilliant time to do it. If you go to do it and you see we're already in the 4s, just do it anyway, please. That'd be great. We'd really, really like it. It'd be
On
really,
the plus
really
side, though, 3.7 for a NoFX podcast. I mean that's roughly 60%.
Yeah, it is in fact just over 60%. However, I'm not so keen on being that on brand that we put off people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not about our effort. It's about the enjoyment we provide. And I think we provide more than 60% enjoyment. But, I mean, who would have thought I would enjoy a podcast about NoFX? That'd be weird, wouldn't it? So, and I've realized that we don't really ask for reviews and stuff like that. I know I've put a little thing in the last ones talking about, letting people know, spreading the word, which would be really, really great, and that's the best thing you can do for us, really. But I think on Spotify you can review or give star ratings to individual episodes and stuff. So if you're listening to this one and you really enjoy it, if it takes no time out of your day, we'd really, really appreciate a nice rating, because it does help get us to reach out to other people who'd probably love to find us. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, it all helps, and we really appreciate all the support that people give us.
We absolutely do, and I'm so sorry I had to sound desperate and pathetic using maths, but I didn't know how else to broach it to you. So there's all that. But we are staggered how many people actually listen to this fucking thing anyway. So all of this other stuff is just window dressing, but we'd love it if more people could hear it. And I think one of the ways you can help us do that is spreading the word and also those reviews. So anyway, thank you. Appreciate it. Sorry for being needy. But there you go. So that's what we've all been up to. But I think it's probably time we speak to our friends.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
We're going to go over to Leeds premier emo comedy double act, Andrew and Thom, No Money in the Bank. We'll see you on the outro. And here they are, the empty coffered kings of emo comedy, No Money in the Bank.
Oh, that's a lovely thing to hear. Yes.
Nice, isn't it?
Hello.
Yeah. Thom B and Andrew Marsh, please say hello.
Hello. Hello, punk rock elite.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, Eddie. Hello, Eddie. Hello, Eddie.
That's what they'd call us if we were going out. All of the trashy mags. Thank you so much for.
And then if you broke up, you'd be a ready break. Great.
Oh yeah, very good.
All sorts. We would be central heating for kids. Now it falls down there, doesn't it? We've crossed the Rubicon.
Heat for Kids is a terrible magazine.
Say again?
I said Heat for Kids would be a terrible magazine.
It really would. It's just that would just be sort of playground jeering, really, wouldn't it? But written on recyclable paper. So we are very, very happy to be joined here at Punk Rock Elite Towers by No Money in the Bank. Andrew and Thom, please tell us about No Money in the Bank first of all. What's all of that?
Oh, god damn it. We're double act from Leeds, basically just best mates who enjoy trying to make comedy out of ska band names and weird little things that we like in the emo music. And we now also book bands on top of the comedy because why not? It's promoting isn't stressful enough as it is, right? So
I do like the way that you are so confident in your abilities to make ska band names funnier than they already are.
Oh yeah, it's a gift.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, you've been you sort of started out from my perspective as I sort of recall you from doing sort of open mic night, scratch night kind of things in Leeds and other cities as well. And you've always had excessively good posters for what amounts to sort of good, but not particularly out of the ordinary open mic nights.
Yeah, we like to like draw them in and then disappoint them. It's
Well, yeah.
the real DIY ethos.
Not quite what I was getting at, but
I know.
Point being is that basically what you've done is you've elevated the content to match the peerless poster design that you've been enjoying for so long by basically doing the thing that most comedians absolutely dread, which is we've got a band on after you lot.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you've managed to turn that into an actual draw and a show that people have been enjoying going to see.
Yeah, it's strange. Like, we always say that we don't know why anyone else has done it, and then we kind of do remember how many mixed bills we've been on, and it's like, oh yeah, because when it's done badly, it can be absolutely terrible. But I think the thing I like about how we do it, and I think why people enjoy doing it as well as coming to it, is we try and give just everybody a bit of a chance to shine. Like, everybody, like, it's only 2 acts, they're both doing 20 minutes, we're doing a bit of extended nonsense, and then the band has half an hour. It's usually a DIY band who is stupid enough to say yes to us, and and it just gives them a moment to shine. And also they tend to bring people too, because when you're a little DIY band, you're usually telling your mates that you're on a bill with 5 other bands that aren't the same genre, and you probably won't like them. Whereas with our night, it's like you'll see like 40 minutes of comedy, which you'll probably like, and then it's just us. And that's more of a draw to people. I don't know. I think they feel supported by it.
Yeah. A lot of bands. It's a lot easier for a band to say to their mates, "Come and see our band," than it is for us to say to our mates, "Come and see an open mic." Essentially.
Can't fault that.
Used to our goodwill over like the last 8 years, haven't we?
That is the thing, isn't it? No one ever tells you when you start out doing stand-up or any kind of comedy, your friends will come and see you once maximum.
That's like whenever people ask us for comedy advice, or because they're new, so they ask us. It's like the only bit of advice I ever give is like, don't make your mates come to the open mics. Like, when you go to Edinburgh, tell them to come to that. Because if you come to your open mic and then you say come to my Edinburgh, they will not trust you.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, go on.
There was 2 people that came to see their mate at our normal open mic comedy night the other week, and they specifically asked if their mate could be pushed to second on the bill just so they could leave after their mate had been on.
Wow.
Which I don't know if it's worse that they asked that or the fact that I
did it
granted their.
The other acts don't need to see 2 people looking really, really bored. 2 more people looking really, really bored.
Yeah.
It is that. Yeah, that's the. It's one of those things where, certainly from running open mic nights over the years, if you spot someone who's brought, let's face it, up to 80% of the audience, it's like, do you know what? You're not bad at this, actually. Do you fancy closing tonight? Do you want to go on last? Just really try and make sure that they stick around for as long. Because if they're on first, everyone is, hey, tell you what, there's a much better bar than this shit place.
Yeah.
But 2 cities away. Let's go to it now. And so it's that kind of thing. So what you've been all over the place. You're based in Leeds. Thom, you were up until recently Manchester based, but you're both
relocated.
Yeah, but you're sort of, so you've been running out of Leeds and Manchester now, concentrating on, or both of you out of Leeds, but you've been all over the shop.
Yeah, it's like, who doesn't want to go on tour with the mate? But no one butts that for comedy, so we just found a bunch of rooms that would let us do it, and we've just been doing Valhalla in other places. Really, Bristol was a lot of fun. We did it in the big room at the Exchange, which is a lovely venue, specialist subject run just in the roof of it as well. So
that's a record label, just
really, really lovely place, and somehow managed to near sell it out. I made the pictures look like it was sold out, but near sell out. And yeah, we've got Penryn coming up, which is my uni
Fucking
town,
hell.
and
Oh,
also
right.
forever away. So
It
it's
is.
going to be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got we haven't booked the band yet. Like we've got a few in, but we've got Dan, who is our mate, who basically is very good at comedy and also drives us everywhere. It's like a wonderful combination. We got
Dan Powell.
Dan Powell, thank you. Mabel Slattery and my friend Ethel Darwin, who's doing a clown act. So it's going to be a fun, weird show no matter what.
Yes. And we were in London to host a punk all-dayer last weekend, which was a lot of fun. Because we dick around for 5 minutes between every act. Remember, like at Leeds and Reading, where like Colin Murray would come on the main stage.
Don't compare us to Colin Murray.
I mean, I'm gonna do worse than that. I remember Chris Moyles doing that at Leeds Festival. So, stick with Colin Murray if I were you. At least he used to host the darts.
So we were the punk rock Colin Murray for the day, and we would perform between bands, wouldn't we?
Oh, such a good star band name, Colin Murray and the Punk Rockers.
Colin Rocker and the Punk Murrays.
How do you find like going on in between like bands and stuff?
I mean, we love it.
It's like it can depend on the band and it can depend on where in the bill as well because this is the second year we've done the hosting for How to Make Friends, and the first year we weren't on as much, so it was a lot easier to kind of like build momentum and build that excitement for when we're there. Because essentially we see our job as getting people in the venue and giving them something to focus on for 5 minutes so that none of the bands are going on to an empty room. Because there's nothing worse than that first like 2-3 minutes of a band where just everyone's coming in the smoking area.
Yeah.
So it's kind of our job to draw them in and keep their attention, which is bloody hard when like it's not, it's not really what they're expecting.
Yeah.
But we just use stupid games, give away CEX prizes, and do football chants. So it's pretty,
We gave away a limited edition Peter Kay DVD last weekend, didn't we?
Yeah.
Is there such a thing as a limited edition Peter Kay DVD? They made billions of those things.
It was signed by us, and it had a bonus disc, and it was had a bonus disc which was made entirely out of garlic bread. So
that's what we did to prepare for the show. We didn't look over the games. We just ran around CAX trying to find a DVD and then some garlic bread. And actually, it wasn't even garlic bread. We were unable to find garlic bread, so it was a naan bread. But it still worked.
That's.
That's like the music community in that side of it is very warm and receptive to us, and I think like the feedback we usually get is like people just very happy that someone's there to hype everyone up and get people chanting for the first band, which is fun. It's just fun to do.
Yeah,
still haven't started a circle pit just for a bit of observational comedy though.
just put on Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah, Jerry Seinfeld.
Good people.
What's the deal with opening up this fucking pit?
I did. I mean, now that's out in the world. That's got to happen sooner rather than later. I think. I think that. I mean, Jerry Seinfeld and Sick of It All are two New York institutions, aren't they? The fact they've not been combined is
I would love to see Sick of It All at Caroline's. I think do a good set.
Yeah.
That's, and I would like to see Jerry Seinfeld just curling weights for 40 minutes before he goes on in a vest.
I reckon Kramer could front a hardcore band now.
Yeah, Kramer could definitely front
one of those specific types of hardcore bands.
Yeah.
One of those ones who think everything's got a bit pussified. One of them lot.
Yeah.
He's new Cro-Mags, not old. Is my theory anyway. But yeah, so how did you two get into punk rock and all the rest of it? What's your origin stories?
You go.
But my origin story is that like I really liked Sum 41 when I was 11.
Everyone has an origin story.
I was quite sheltered from a lot of popular music. I grew up on like Radio 4 folk festival coverage from my parents and like very middle class shit. And all of my music influence came from my best friend Pete, who burnt me most of his CDs, but the standout one and the one that was my alarm clock in my CD player for about 2 years was Blink-182's "Take Off Your Pants and Jacket." And I think I still have the burnt CD with a little printed out liner notes he did for me in there. just you know, and neurodiversity travels in packs, doesn't it? So it's...
But in single file to hide their numbers.
And yeah, and just after it's typical pipe. I mean, I really liked Star as I was the archetypal Star friend as a teen, as certainly in university, and I kind of doubled down on it in university because no one in my friend group had my music taste, so I was like not reluctantly, like stubbornly the Star guy, and then then I fell back into pop punk and emo, and it just got more and more obscure the older I got. Actually, right, when I turned 30, I got really into weird time signatures. I don't know if that's like up there with the IPA and, you know, microbrew and stuff, but...
Does that mean you started listening to American football?
Yeah, it's your fault too.
It's good one. Blink-182 for me. I heard all the small things. I mean, everyone heard that song.
I mean, shouted from it.
It was number 2 in the chart.
Yeah, no, never heard it until I was given the CD and went back to Enema. I didn't realise it was popular.
Yeah, well, and then so that's all I'd heard from them. And then my friend had friends in California, and they brought over the live album, the Enema Strikes Back, Mark, Tom and Travis show. And a lot of those jokes now are probably not worth repeating, but when you're like... No. What was I? When you're like 15 years old, that was like the funniest shit. Those, you know, Mark talking about masturbation and you know, it was just funny.
Because you masturbated, so you like, you guys get me.
This must be that observational humour that people have been talking about.
And they went from there, and then so I suppose they were my gateway band, and then everything off the back of that, pretty much.
Well, that's because I think you're a shade younger than myself, and so I sort of, you know, not dissimilar. I sort of, you know, was quite excited when I remember Dookie, the singles from Dookie being around, but it was actually Nimrod where I was much more aware of that kind of thing, and then like within a year or two, like What's My Age Again and All the Small Things came out, and that's how I sort of found out about, you know, Blink-182 and stuff. But by that time, I'd already got into sort of NoFX and the sort of less stuff that you weren't going to hear on, you know, stuff that wasn't going to be on Top of the Pops.
Yeah.
And because that was the weirdest thing, is like they were on Top of the Pops. It was like, this is incredibly accessible music, sonically, and also you could just get it. But yeah, I think there's a lot of people. I don't know, because I think with Blink-182, some people sort of like got into it because it was catchy and fun and irreverent and, like you say, 15-year-old manna from heaven. And then sort of later on they go, no, I don't recognize that. And then eventually they go back and go, no, I do recognize that a lot.
Yeah.
Like you sort of go back and you stop caring and you don't get, you know, you're not so precious, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think Blink themselves are the same, because you've got the whole way, you've got self-titled, which is, you know, again, much more sonically pleasing, and then the slightly more mature stuff, and then they kind of like came back together and a bunch of 40-something-year-old men writing a song called Edging. So
yeah, well, they remembered what worked.
Yeah.
And I maintain it was probably a bad idea to get Matt Skeever in the band, because having a member of Blink-182 who had sex probably ruined some of that.
I always say I wish they'd done with the Matt Skeever stuff. I wish they'd just done a Descendants and all sort of thing. Just basically, it is the same band, but it's someone new. So just give them a different name, and it's fine. And I think people would have been a bit more receptive to it, because it is like the only reason it's out of place in Blink's discography is that it's kind of a bit more capable. but I love them. I do love them. But
I wouldn't say capable. I mean, Tom DeLonge's got a very distinctive voice.
Yes, but so do I.
I mean, it wasn't a bad decision for Ski, but he fucking probably paid his mortgage off.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, absolutely. What I thought was really funny as well was that in that first sort of photo shoot where they revealed their new guitarist, he was wearing like Hurley t-shirts and like baseball caps, and I'm like, what? You're normally a Tim Burton looking motherfucker with all your stripy shit and your drain pipes. And it's like, okay, guys, it's like he was given a uniform.
Welcome to Point 182. Here is your Atticus uniform.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it was, and that was what I've. And then within about a month, you were, first live footage of Matt Skiba with Blink-182. He's dressed like he's normally doing. He just did it so as not to frighten the natives. I think. Really worried that they.
Sorry, they carry on.
No, I was just saying they were really worried they'd let a grown-up into the group or something. But yeah, sorry, you were saying.
So I'm sure I was discussing that with someone, and the idea of that first photo shoot was that if you make him look exactly like Tom, to the general person who might buy a Blink-182 ticket who's not actually a super fan, they might not notice it's a different person. It's not going to cloud their judgment of a different member coming into the band, kind of thing.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know if there's any truth to that, but I'm sure someone was telling me.
There's got to be a reason that Skiba was dressed in a way that he clearly hadn't dressed for about 20 years. I don't know. Anyway, and so when did you start doing comedy and stuff? What's your comedy origins?
And I started in Leeds at the Verve Comedy Cellar, Eddie, which I'm sure you're all too familiar with.
Yes, the Comedy Cellar at Verve, which I ran for 5 years or something.
Did it feel like 15 at the time?
Yeah, really. Yeah, that shit was weekly. Still is. But other people run it now. It got passed to me, and then I finally managed to pass it on. But it meant that every Tuesday of my life for about 5 years was already sewn up. But yeah.
This is my favourite horror film about generational curses. It follows in the open mic.
To be honest, if you said to most comedians, "Oh yeah, they say that there was a weekly open mic night here, ran for 5 years, and it was the same person who ran it," so it'd be a bit of a spine shudder, wouldn't it? Yeah. So,
but then, so I was going to say, but there wasn't much in Leeds around 2014, so I would often go over to Manchester to do the open mics over there, and that's where I met Thom,
right.
And then we bonded over music and wrestling, and that's
that sounded a bit less homoerotic.
We weren't wrestling each other
after we reenacted Women in Love.
So that's my origin comedy wise, I suppose.
And were you, because you correct me if I'm wrong, you primarily perform as Balthazar Dark, professional wrestler.
Balthazar. Yeah.
And was it always the intention to do character stuff, or did you start out as yourself, or
I started out as myself for I don't know, 4 years, but then I just felt more comfortable being someone else on stage, and it wasn't necessarily funnier, but I believed it was going to be funnier.
That makes it more fun, doesn't it?
Yeah, half the battle of making something work on stage is believing it's going to.
Yeah,
true enough.
So that's where that came from, pretty much, and then I'll just try to develop it, I suppose. But yeah. People seem to like it.
People do like it.
Yeah.
If they seem to like it, they very likely like it.
Yeah. That is how I judge the situation.
Yeah, but there's not. I feel like I'm overcompensating sometimes.
That's because you're a professional
I
wrestler.
haven't got enough good jokes, so I end up taking my shirt off and getting someone to sign my stomach at the end of the week. So.
And you
Well, would
do
you-
this Johnny Vegas as a comedy influence, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Would you rather write jokes or be signed?
To a music label.
Just someone signing you, just to walk away a signed
A signed
artifact.
man.
A signed man.
No,
'Cause,
I would rather write jokes.
That's what you've done me.
But I mean, whether I'm talking about my solo act or our double act, if the option is us writing a lot of good stuff that doesn't get seen by the widest amount of people, I would rather do that than get signed and they realise pretty quickly you've got fuck all anyway.
Sorry, I may have been misunderstood there. I meant, as in, you get someone to sign your stomach. Would you rather do the taking your shirt off and being signed? Is that more fun than writing good jokes?
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
Well, that's why you do it, and you don't write good jokes. There you go. Or you don't write more good jokes. Yeah. Your own words. I'm sounding like I'm anyway. You know what I mean.
I only go on stage to do comedy because I want to be on stage, and I can't act. And I can't play in a band. I can't play anything. I can't sing. So it's the third. It's the third one of It's the third alternative, basically. So that's how I started doing comedy.
And that's a refreshingly honest thing to say, because I think that is not as uncommon a reason for doing stand-up as people would have us believe.
I started doing stand-up because of a circus injury, so it's like it wasn't my first choice.
Well, that segues nicely into your secret origin there, Thom.
I started doing comedy when I was living in Germany, teaching circus to children. Why am I thinking about that? It was children. 5 to 19, I taught
They were
circus.
very small. I think they were young. I don't know what the word is. Kind? I think they were kind.
I was living there for a year, teaching circus, and I injured myself about 6 months into that. Listened to a lot of comedians to medium podcast because it cheered me up, and found out there was quite a decent English spoken open mic scene. So jumped on that after emceeing a couple of galas that I'd been booked to do, like juggling and stuff and aerialing, but couldn't because I was injured. Mm-hmm. And I got a taste for microphones making the endorphins happen. Signed up, did a bunch of gigs over there, then started in Manchester, and it was a lot more depressing in Manchester because, again, it was the same thing. The only thing that you could do, this is back in 2015, felt like was just, beat the frog or it was Tidal Lounge. But it was basically that, gone shows or the occasional 10-minute middle somewhere. Mm-hmm. Whereas now, I don't live there anymore, but now they're spoiled for choice. Mm-hmm. Which is weird. It was what I was saying yesterday. I don't know why people still do Don shows. It's like you don't have to do them anymore.
Yeah, true.
Do you want to hear the first ever joke I did at Beat the Frog?
Always.
Yeah. For those unaware, Beat the Frog is the gong show at the Frog and Bucket. Used to be Preston and Manchester. Now it's just Manchester because the Preston one's closed.
Yeah. I went up and I said, I thought beating the frog was a euphemism the Incredible Hulk used for masturbation. And then I paused because I let it get a massive laugh. And one guy at the back and then I went like this because I was a bit confused. And then I got one small laugh from guy at the back. And then I didn't do it again.
The last time I did it, again, about 5 years ago, probably more. I got gonged off at 4 minutes 59 seconds, and was just like, "No, this is bullshit. I'm not doing this anymore."
That's whoever was comparing was gunning for you then, because they're like, no, I saw all three. Have an idea of who it.
The sound engineer, when it was, how long was that up there? Just you could hear the satisfaction in the voice over the 4 minutes 59.
Yes,
brutal.
I mean, love Colin at the Frog, but he would have absolutely loved that. That would have been his breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the next week. That would have. That would have really, really sated him. Cool. So, do you remember the first time that you heard NoFX?
Rock Against Bush Volume 2, but I can't remember what the track was, and I haven't looked it up. But because my introduction to NoFX was I got that album because it had a Yellow Card song on it that wasn't on anything else. So, I can't remember the name of it now.
Is it Idiots Are Taking Over?
Yes, I think it is. I'm finding out.
That would be my guess, anyway.
You say yours. I'm going to look up a track.
NoFX did. The Yellow Card one was Violins. They covered a Lagwagon song. And NoFX don't appear to be on it.
Oh no. What am I thinking of?
Maybe Volume 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Mine was Franco and American on all the music channels around, what will it have been?
2003.
2003, yeah. Whenever that came out. Because that video...
It does appear in their live set when they play the UK a lot, because it was a very popular track here compared to their previous releases.
Oh, it was massive, wasn't it? It was like the full circulation.
Was that less popular in America then? Was Franco and American more popular?
Comparatively, it's still popular in America, but so had a lot of their other tracks, because like Leave It Alone and had a lot of MTV play and stuff like that. Yeah. But I think in the UK we didn't really get them that early on. Yeah. In terms of like mainstream play, but I think Franco on American was a bit of a breakthrough track for them over here.
Yeah, you'd get stuff like Leave It Alone on like M2 or MTV2, whichever iteration it was, but on like the it's the late night punk thing, and it would be like old music, whereas when Franco on American was released, it was like on the new music circulation thing, so it was a lot more prevalent, I guess.
And that video is, if you're flipping through the music channels and that video comes on, it's so distinctive, you know.
Yeah, it's like The Simpsons being yellow.
Yeah,
and it's just like just captures your attention.
Yeah,
I think I think they agreed to have a video done for it, partly because the sort of anti-Bush thing was so important. They broke their no interviews standard that they'd set. And I think they were just like, well, we don't have to someone else has made the music video for us. So that's fine. The Flash player sort of vibe of it. Yeah. Cool.
It's kind of it's like Monty Python meets kind of like Sledgehammer, like the way it kind of... Very cool video.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's it's very, very good. It's one of those sort of it's almost like a literal video, and everything discussed. Like a little cartoon Noam Chomsky turns up in there and stuff, and it's and I didn't realize how adorable that was till I said little cartoon Noam Chomsky out loud. No, I think it's kind of sweet, really, isn't it?
Another great hardcore band name.
We are cartoon Noam Chomsky. And this one goes out to our friends, obviously.
I realised that mine was Rock Against Bush Volume 1. It was Journey Music.
Yes.
Ah.
So you actually got a Scar NoFX,
which is pretty much going to be why I like, because just anything with brass would get my attention, because I played trumpet as a child, because grew up in a town in the north, I suppose is what happens. And
do you remember Brassed Off? The film? Thom had a 2-minute bit in that.
No, I didn't.
No, apparently he didn't. That's a lie.
But see, I just liked trumpet music.
Tom's dad is Stephen Tompkins.
No, it's not. His dad is John Butterworth.
He's only Stephen Tompkinson when he's dressed as a clown.
Sorry.
But yeah, no, anything that had a hint of Star, I would usually dive into and then kind of back away from a bit when I realised it's not what I thought it was going to be. And then usually rediscover about 5 or 10 years later when I've got a slightly wider appreciation.
I see. So, okay. So,
one of those as well. Oh, no, because bad now. Oh.
So you were sort of lured to the rocks by NoFX's Siren Scar.
Yeah.
Wait, there's a lot less Scar in NoFX. Well, I mean, at the moment, because we alternate these interviews with sort of deep dives on various albums, and we've just got to the entirely scarless point of NoFX, where there's been very little of that kind of thing, because we've just done self-entitled. Yesterday we recorded our discussion of that, and if you were to play Johnny music and then self-entitled, you go, no, these are two different bands. These are not the same thing whatsoever. So cool. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to start with the questions.
Before we do the questions,
yes,
I was saying this
Stop
off.
stalling.
I was saying this off air. Cards on the Table. I'm not a huge NoFX fan. I like them. I've always liked them, but my knowledge is kind of, how would you say? It's like a mile wide, but an inch thin.
Well, it's like my NoFX knowledge is really specific.
Okay.
It's like I know what I like. I know why I like it, but I don't really go further out of that. And I think that's good. I like that about bands.
That's fine though, because I think that'll stop us from like waffling on just like bollocks, you know.
It does also
Red, it's like
there's
you've
only
never
so
met
much
me.
we know.
Yeah, it does also mean that every time you tell me something new, I'll be like, "Oh yeah, no, go on, tell me what I just facts." I love trivia.
We're not experts on the matter, but my OCD does mean that if I encounter a new piece of information, it spins round and round and round in my head in case that's what's going to save my life. So you know, but if I don't know something, absolute blank. So that'll be good fun. So let's start off with the first one. It's quite simple. Favorite NoFX song?
The Decline.
The Decline.
Because I can't focus on things for too long. It's like my mind would just scatterbrained.
Mm-hmm.
And I can typically focus for about 20 minutes on a task, or about like the length of NoFX's The Decline. So it's like a little Pomodoro technique for me. It's like if I just really need to get some work done, bash on The Decline, work away at it, and then, you know, go on my merry way and have a cigarette or something when it's done, as Fat Bank would have wanted.
Yeah.
You would definitely want The Decline to be connected with your productivity.
Linoleum.
Nice.
Ooh.
Classic.
It's probably like saying my favorite. It's probably like someone saying the favorite Blink song is All the Small Things or something. But
But if it's your favorite, it's your favorite. There's not. We don't.
It's, you know, it's good.
So I have a bit of a blind spot to, well, historically a blind spot as to what is a cover, and I first heard Linoleum on the Streetlight Manifesto did it live, and they did this bit where they were just like, well, I wrote this because I was one of the first members of NoFX, and then they'd hit me out, and I didn't know any better, so that just became a piece of trivia for me for a bit, and I was convinced that Linoleum was a Streetlight Manifesto original.
That's good. Well, I mean, to be honest, any number of bands could have done that, because it is an incredibly covered song. But it is.
I think I saw your mate Frank Turner do a cover of that.
Your mate Frank Turner.
Yeah. He has done. FT. Yeah. FT. F Dog. Yeah. He's always cracking out the Linoleum. Yeah. He has done. There's a few videos of him doing that around. I think one of them where Fat Mike is in the crowd.
Yeah, and then I think he brings Fat Mike up to sing it with him. I think he might have been at Fest or something.
Yeah, it sounds like a fest thing, doesn't it?
Also, Frank's answer to the best song was The Decline. So,
yeah, he said, which he prefaced like,
how much do I want to agree with Frank Turner? Yeah. No, I'll take this. I'll take it.
he prefaced it by saying, "Oh, well, not including The Decline. Actually, no, The Decline." So, thinking like it was some sort of cheat, but it's the answer to your favourite. So if it's your favourite, you know, have it, please.
Everybody has a moment to shine in The Decline. Like, everybody gets to it. The big brass sections. And when I was about 15, I had an argument with my best friend because he said, "Oh, it's just a bunch of songs like tacked together." And I was nerdy and stubborn. So like I chopped it up into its logical breakpoints and kind of like shuffled it to kind of prove the point of like, no, it doesn't. Like, meh. And it, nah. It's a wonderful song. It's a musical of a song. I love it.
No, it's a terrific piece of work. We waxed lyrical about it for quite a while, but I think possibly in that sort of way one does. I don't think we've really talked about Linoleum a huge amount when we were talking about Punk and Drublic and stuff, because we probably took it as, no pun intended, read that everyone knew that Linoleum was just a stone cold banger. And there's a reason that loads of bands cover it, and there's a reason that it's, so good.
Yeah,
because it absolutely is. I mean, the intro being so simple, but also so obvious what it is straight away. It's like that's sort of hard to do.
yeah. It's kind of the key thing about a good pop song in a lot of ways, isn't it? Like, if you can identify a song in the first 5 seconds, then it suggests it's going to be a very popular song a lot of the time.
Yeah, I mean, so for some reason, the song that just jumped into my head was "Just Can't Get Enough" by Depeche Mode. But that first keyboard sting, down, is like you hear that and you go, "Oh, hello."
Yeah.
But it's also like Linoleum has that unique quality where you know it immediately, even if you've never heard it before. It's like the first time you hear Linoleum, it's embedded in there, and it's just like it's anthemic almost.
Yeah. It's such a weird sing along for something which is so structural.
Yeah,
there's just one big long bit where everyone goes Linoleum, and that's all you need. That's it. One hook once. and it's in your head, and it's inside your head forever. Yeah, he literally says that's me inside your head. He's taunting us. But yeah, fantastic. That's can't argue with those. Well, we don't argue with them anyway. We just talk about them. But yeah,
a discussion. It's an open forum.
Yeah, exactly. You know what it is. Yeah. So your favorite NoFX song is not your favorite NoFX song. Change my mind. That's the new format of the show.
I love Reddit.
It is great, isn't it? I mean, I don't actually, just to play devil's advocate. So
yeah,
that makes me intellectual.
I'm ambivalent to it.
Yeah, but you still use forums.
There's nothing wrong with a good forum.
Well,
should we move on?
We're not going to. Yeah, well, yeah. I was just trying to think. Am I a member of any forums? I'm not sure that I am. Never mind.
I've got Discord. Does that count?
Oh yeah, Discord. Yeah,
Discord's like all the forums. It's like Gen Z forums, right?
Yes,
it is. That's why I'm a little hesitant about it.
Yeah,
I don't know if this one is for me or not, but yeah. So I can't pass for Gen Z. That's the thing. I'm people just go stinks of millennial in here, and they just turn around and side eye me. Oh, sod. Hello everyone, Eddie here. Red and I hope you're enjoying our show. If you have been and would like to help us make it a little more easily, then you can donate to us at our Ko-fi page, which is ko-fi.com/punkrockelite, or you can look in the show notes for our link tree. If you can't help us financially, we totally understand, but would love it if you spread the word to other people who would like this podcast. We thank you for your continued support. We massively appreciate it. Back to the show. You have a favourite NoFX album?
The Decline.
War on Heroism. I was listening to that earlier. He's got a good. There's a song on that about going to see the Descendants for the first time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 13 Stitches.
13 Stitches. That's a good song. I like that. And then it's got Franco on American on.
On America.
On
America.
Franco on Americo. Is it not Franco on American?
I think it's Franco on American.
Yeah. What?
Did you get yours from LimeWire, Tom? Is it actually riddled with spelling mistakes?
I 100% it.
Franco on America by Bryan Adams.
That's why I thought that Call Me Ferris, Come on Eileen was Real Big Fish Forever. LimeWire.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. This apparently it was one of the things that there are a lot of Wheatus tracks that people think were done by Weezer and vice versa because of LimeWire.
But like at Leeds Fest a few years ago, Weezer played Teenage Dirtbag.
Yeah,
They did,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, I heard about
They
that.
did.
Confuse everyone.
I think they did it just so the people who turned up to hear Teenage Dirtbag weren't really sad.
Yeah.
I think, which is rather sweet, really.
My friend saw Wheatus and they opened, middled, and encored with Teenage Dirtbag. It's like they know what the people want, and I do respect that.
Yeah, when I saw Europe, they did that with the final countdown.
Of course they did, yeah.
There's it might be an urban legend, but apparently Chesney Hawkes has played the one and only 10 times in a row due to audience bullying. Like for a little while, he did like university freshers weeks and stuff. Maybe about 10, 15 years ago. For the sort of the vintage of people at university would have been, because someone said that sort of opened with it and then did 2 encores of the one and only, but in between was doing like sort of covers and other stuff. But then said apparently that, just 10 times round we go, I'm the one and only. Everyone went crazy off their tits on VK or whatever, and then just that was it. Bye.
He should have just extended that, like the show ends and he just keeps playing it by himself, like another 7 hours until he's the only one in the entire arena. Just
I don't think Chesney Hawkes is going for Tragic Clown.
I think he should do. Very tragic figure. I don't know. Is he? He's probably doing all right. Chezza.
Yeah, he's doing fine.
He was doing fine about 15 years ago on the Freshers Week circuit.
No, I'm pretty sure I've seen a picture of him this week on recording Nevermind the Buzzcocks.
Yeah, I saw that as well, yeah.
And he looks very healthy.
Oh, good.
Good old Chesney. He's the one and only in my heart.
I do like the way that this seems to be the way Andrew sort of like gently nudges potential new material over to Thom, like Lady and the Tramp with the meatball. only for Thom to swat it away and go, no, we're not having Chesney Hawkes is the one and only in my eyes. No.
We'll kiss over spaghetti when you turn it into a football chant. You know the rules.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry, people are going to be signing your tummy for a bit longer if that's all you've got to bring to the table, I'm afraid. So.
I'll make them do it in a different colour.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, you can get those multi-packs of permanent markers from the works and stuff. You'll be set. Purple today.
Where it's a different colour when you click down.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, colour change biro.
Yeah.
Too many and it becomes unwieldy. Anyway, good.
So the new album is quite good.
Which one's the new one?
What's the new one called? The newest NoFX album.
Double album.
Yes, it's got a song on that was intended to be that Mike wrote it and then wanted to give it to Blink-182.
Yes,
and he gave. Do we know this? Do we know this story?
I don't.
No, I know the story. Yeah.
Do you want to say it, Eddie?
I talk over the guests enough as it is. I think being actively encouraged is going to just do dreadful stuff. Well, it was punk rock cliche was the name of the song.
The one. And he gave it to Travis Barker.
I think the reason that it didn't get used was because he gave it to Matt Skiba and said, "Tell them you wrote it."
Mm-hmm.
And so he was trying to Trojan horse his song into Blink-182 through his friend Matt Skiba.
I mean, that's I totally get that.
Yeah.
And then Travis or someone caught wind of this and then immediately vetoed the idea.
Mm-hmm.
So they recorded it instead.
I like that song.
There's a couple of good ones on double album. And when you're sort of 17 albums in, being able to say there's a couple of good ones on that album is pretty good going, really.
Yeah.
We've not recorded I don't think you've even listened to those ones yet, have you, Red?
No, I'm saving them for when we review them.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Well, we all saw how well that went when you. Oh, well, actually, you'll find out just how well that went when Red reviewed an album of NoFX they hadn't heard before, probably before. It went interestingly. So listen out for the self-entitled episode. It's going to be a doozy. Cool.
That's
Well, let's.
Tony Sly as well. Sorry.
Oh yes, that was on First Ditch Effort.
Yeah,
I'm
was,
so
yeah.
sorry, Tony. Yes.
That's quite a sad song.
Is
Very poignant.
First Ditch Effort the one with Sid and Nancy on it?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
That's a catchy banger.
Oh yeah,
It's a good album.
Yeah. that is a good album. Yeah, well worth looking at. Just for the third question, would you have a favourite lyric of NoFX?
15 years getting loaded, 15 years till his liver exploded.
Nice.
Lovely.
It's just, I just like any, like, it's again, like, scatterbrain everywhere. Just any hooks that I can catch on to. Like, they're the ones that stay. And yeah, Bob has stuck in my brain ever since, like, I don't even know where I first heard it. Probably one of the many, like, was it on P-Rock?
Might well have been.
It might be P-Rock, but yeah, one of the many channels it was in the rotation of.
There was a video for it as well, I think. So that's very, very likely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to decline to answer because I can't think of it.
That's fine. Yeah. It's I put that question in just because, like I say, if I hear something, I tend to sort of throw it around my mind over and over and over again, so it tends to stick. So I sort of remember lyrics, whereas there are some people who couldn't tell you 10 lines from their favorite band. They're just like, oh no, it's one of those things. Some people just don't hear music that way.
I'm a bit like that. I don't really pick out lyrics. It's again unless like hooky or like just again actually like Bob as well. Just those ones that are more spoken. Like I'm quite a fan of the theory that shitty vocals actually make me pay attention to lyrics a bit better sometimes because it's almost like it's being dictated to me rather than dressed up in a nice voice to me. I don't know how to describe that feeling. But
well, I suppose it's like that band Zico Ross who speak in gibberish.
Oh yeah,
that none of their lyrics are real words. People assumed it was. Are they from Iceland?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was just Icelandic.
Yeah,
apparently they just make up sounds that are pleasing to the ear to go with the melodies and stuff. So there's no lyrical content as such. It's just syllables and sounds and stuff. And obviously very different bands to NoFX, but just how it is.
Not a comp I want to listen to though.
In fact, it reminds me of one of my favourite interviews I've ever seen was Craig Charles of Funk DJ and Red Dwarf fame, interviewing Robot Wars, interviewing
reading porn in the back of his car on the way to Coronation Street. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
Back of a taxi.
Yeah, back of a taxi. He was high on crack cocaine.
Sorry.
Anyway, prior to his legal troubles, he was a presenter on a program, a Channel 4 sort of youth program, and he was interviewing Napalm Death. Napalm Death played a handful of songs because they can do that and still have time to, catch last orders. And so they were playing some of their songs. And Craig Charles was interviewing them between the songs. And he was stood there with a copy of the album. And he was like, corporate overlords raping the earth for all she's worth while you die, whatever it is. And he literally went, there's some good stuff in here, lads. How come you're not singing it properly? It is utterly charming. The way he's sort of like, you're doing yourself a disservice here, fellas. You got some really good stuff going on, and you're just blaring it. So I suppose it. So yeah, that's one of my recommendations for that. You find that Craig Charles, Napalm Death on YouTube. Get on it. It's great fun.
Watch that later.
Yeah. No, it's good fun. So do you have a favourite memory connected to NoFX?
Which Tony Hawk were they on?
Think. Oh, Underground. They were on Tony Hawk's Underground. They're on Thug.
And that made sense because I played that a lot. Again, with Pete, a friend who burnt me all my CDs. It's just anything that was on like 3, 4, and Underground is just linked to memories of just playing Tony Hawk with friends.
I'm pretty sure it's Dinosaurs Will Die that's on.
Yeah, it is.
Underground.
Yeah,
Tony Hawk's Underground, Separation of Church and Skate.
Oh!
I've just found on the on the
Yeah.
NoFX fandom, they have a list of all of the video games NoFX have had songs on.
I love the internet sometimes.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? Oh, on Tony Hawk Ride, Just the Flu from Ribbed.
That's so weird.
Isn't it?
I've never played Ride. Is that the one that came with an actual peripheral skateboard?
Oh, yes, you're right. And it like almost bankrupted them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had a song on Dance Dance Revolution Ultra Mix 3.
Which one?
The Bath of Least Resistance. which is a B-side. Or like a sort of a,
Oh, please do a Twitch stream where you just play all the NoFX video games.
There was a Grind Session. They had Linoleum on. Trans World Surf. They had Total Bomber. ESPN X Games Pro Border. All his suits are torn. NCAA Football 06. It had Jeff Wes Birkenstocks.
That's so funny.
What is going on? All right. Yeah, there's we'll put those in the description of the show. That's some interesting. There's some good stuff here, lads. National Hockey League 07. Wolves in Wolves clothing. It's just hockey and football games, and they're like, well, Tony Hawk did very well with this punk music, so let's do it with American football and hockey. All right.
I think it's probably just on like the selecting teams like screens.
Yeah, it will be. Yeah,
not a clue, but I had a couple on Guitar Hero and Guitar Hero World. Oh, Guitar Hero World Tour. They had Sold Out from White Trash, and then Guitar Hero World Tour DLC Linoleum, because they knew you would pay for Linoleum.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if you told me Linoleum's going to be on FIFA, I'd play FIFA.
Yeah, Linoleum lasts about 2 minutes. I understand a game of football is much longer than that.
Not on FIFA.
Oh,
yeah.
What, like 10?
Yeah, it's
10
about 10
Linoleums instead of 45?
I'd prefer 10 Chesney Hall.
I am the one and only over and over again till the football ends.
I went to see NoFX co-headline with Trio in 2016, something like that. That was that's my favourite NoFX memory, I suppose.
Amazing.
Which at Slam Dunk as well?
I will have seen them at Slam Dunk at some point. Yeah.
Now I think I saw them co-headline with Alkaline Trio, but I'd forgot Alkaline Trio were on that gig. But I think did you see them at Leeds 02?
Yes.
Yeah. I went to that.
Yeah. Good gig. I can't remember who there will have been another support, but I
think it was Lagwagon. I'm pretty certain Lagwagon was on before them.
I think I must have missed Lagwagon then.
Because I remember May 16 vividly.
Yeah.
I've never seen them. I don't think I ever will now.
We'll get back together.
I know, but it'll be ages away. And I'll forget. You know what I'm like? They'll announce about, get that, write it down. Well.
I think the chances of them doing international gigs, I think, are probably quite slim. But I would be very surprised if there aren't a handful of small domestic shows that they do over the next 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
They may do... Go on, sorry.
So some bands always do like a Christmas show.
Yes,
like
that's a good point. They might do like Dropkick Murphys St. Patrick's Day shows.
Yeah,
I think Rocket from the Crypt do like one show a year these days. It's like a sort of anniversary thing, or like Tiger Army don't do anything for a while, but they always do a Halloween show because of course they do.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing. So yeah, I think there are some bands that just sort of go, we're going to just legacy this once a year for the hardcore people who carry on with us. But then I suppose, now there's the Museum of Punk Rock, and they seem to keep it plans to expand that, so they may well put a venue
Yeah,
in there, and I wouldn't be surprised if
That
that's
makes
somewhere
sense.
where they crop up.
Yeah.
that would make a lot of sense.
Because it's the sort of place where you could easily coax various bands out of retirement to do one more show, or even the bands who refuse to retire to do one more show. That wouldn't surprise me, because I think they said no more. I mean, it's always been worded as no more touring rather than we'll never perform live ever again.
Yeah.
Like, this
Yeah.
is the last
Yeah.
road we're hitting. And so, yeah, if they were to do the odd one here or there, I don't think anyone would think they were massive liars.
Oh, yeah, no, everyone has tax bills to pay at the end of the day.
Not if you sink it all into one easily write-offable museum.
Indeed.
I don't know. I don't know that it's that malicious, but yeah. But what about, but I mean, don't necessarily need a sort of a memory of seeing NoFX, but just one that they are involved in, I suppose.
As I like to say, it's like I remember, like, NoFX, I remember listening to War on Errorism. Like, I've never listened, like, I've heard it properly since, but up until about the age of 18, I'd only ever heard it in one headphone because my mate had the other. Just on the bus to college and to school, well, not school, but on the bus to college and just rinsing that album.
Yeah.
Basically, like, because Franco and American was on it. I think that's the reason we all bought that album. But
we had a common room in sixth form, and someone would put "Don't Call Me White" on like 7 times a day. Remember that? People that like NoFX always seemed a bit cooler than me.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Because I was into Blue. But it seemed a little bit more kind of mysterious, and I didn't really know much about NoFX, and it seemed more punk to me, which is,
When I was 12, one of the bigger boys told me that Sum 41 was for babies and the real kids listened to NoFX.
Yeah.
But he also said Linkin Park, so grain of salt.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. I think NoFX are. Who was it? I can't remember who said it, but someone we spoke to said NoFX were like the best known of the unknown bands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like baby's first underground band. In that it's very easy to get access to all of their stuff, but then they also lead you through Fat and Epitaph and all that stuff, and then down into the, all the way through, and you go, wait a minute, but this band weren't originally on Epitaph, they were on this other label, what's this? And you open it up and it's like, sort of unleash another Pandora's box of stuff you've got to look through. So
yeah,
they are a gateway. They're a second gateway, I think.
Yeah.
And so
I remember the guy at our college had a Lagwagon hoodie on, and then it had the Fat Wreck logo on the back. And he got his dick stuck in a milk bottle at one point. Don't know if it's related, but maybe Lagwagon fans like to fornicate with bottles.
I mean, there has always been a close association with that sort of, we'll call it skate punk, and the Jackass / Dirty Sanchez approach to self-entertainment.
Especially like 2003.
Oh yeah. Prime era of, hey, I wonder what would happen if I did this. Oh, it hurt.
Oh, no, it's so easy a time to be a straight white man than 2003 to 2005. Even if you've got no discernible talent, you can still staple your cock to a snooker table.
Yeah.
And MTV will buy it.
In Dirty Sanchez, do you remember those boys?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The Welsh answer to Jackass.
Yeah.
He's a best-selling vegan chef now.
The one that went out with Charlotte Church.
Pritchard.
Yeah. He went out with Charlotte Church.
And they're both Welsh.
There you go.
Yeah. And in that case, it was probably arranged.
Yeah.
They didn't have a say in it. Their parents did it. Closed doors. So one of Sanchez is now a vegan, a guy who's probably like eaten off sausages
Yeah,
telly just for.
Yeah, on the telly, best-selling book. It's weird. But credit to it, reinventing.
Sure. Is it still sort of like super anti-establishment and out there? Is it like, oh, vegan, but whoa, I've fallen over?
I think he does use like alternative cooking methods. Like, oh, I'm gonna cook this with a blowtorch. I think he is one of those. Right. He's like a vegan Heston.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Now I want to see Heston skateboard off a balcony or something. Like, just there we go. This will do. Maybe that's what happened. Heston did that, hit his head, and then thought, "I'm going to reinvent cooking." The way we cook is dull to me. Okay, cool. So let's have a look. So do you have any suggestions of how a non-fan might be introduced to NoFX?
How about this? As not a massive fan, why don't you flip the question and you can tell me?
Oh, you crafty bastard.
Well, cut out the middleman. Why doesn't Thom suggest to you what you should listen to?
Well, I'm not convinced of Thom's.
There you go. Done.
Yeah, we'll just listen to the.
I think the same way that, because we've talked about a lot of War on Errorism is a good album. It's like back to front, sonically great. It makes sense. It goes up and down in all the right places. It's a strong album, and I think it's a good starting point because it's that point, to my understanding, NoFX, where they're a bit more polished, so they're going to be a bit kind of like easier to digest as a first-time listener, but not to the point where they're like a completely different band.
Okay, cool. I'll make a note of that.
I think that is actually an incredibly good sell for War on Errorism, and I think it is possibly peak NoFX for that, in that they are recognizable as the band who did White Trash and Punk and Droblick. But like you say, Mike's voice is pretty good on that, and they also know how to record his voice so that he sounds pretty good. But they're also putting in harmonies of people who can sing, and they've got they've got a little variety. They've got they've got Anarchy Camp, which and the saxophone on that must have made your heart sing when you heard that one, Thom.
Yeah.
Found out that was Josh Freeze. No, was it Josh Freeze? Not the
drummer, isn't he?
Yeah, the drummer. It's his brother Jason Freeze.
Yeah.
Yes, whose father you'll know is a famous tuba player.
Yeah,
because they exist apparently.
Limited field. It's easy to rise to fame in it.
Yeah, yes, true. Actually, yeah, I am actually the most famous origamiist that there is. Oh,
good one. Who do you prefer, Josh Freeze, Jason Freeze, or
Mr. Freeze?
Mr. Freeze from
Batman.
Yeah. Definitely Mr. Freeze.
Yeah,
but he can't rock like the other two.
Yeah, but Heart of Ice, man.
Yeah, basically Heart of Ice. Nora. That's it. I mean, if Josh or Jason could affect me with one strike of the drum or one blow of the saxophone, the same way Mr. Freeze can by just saying Nora very quietly and sadly, then they'd be in the running.
Like either of the Freezes or Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze.
Yeah.
It's tough, that one.
It is.
I think they're all on level pegging.
They might be. I mean, to be honest, I think quite famously, Arnold Schwarzenegger got paid what worked out as $1 million per minute of screen time.
What?
He's in it very, very little, and asked for a huge amount. He could have done months of filming, and they just whittled it down to this perfect performance. I don't know. I don't know how Joel Schumacher makes films.
Yeah,
but but yeah. So it's a good one. That I think Josh might pip him to the post, but
Josh Freeze is the drummer in Foo Fighters now, is he not?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he's the new Foo Fighters drummer.
Yeah, leaving Offspring with a drum machine for one gig. It's not true. I think they found somebody, but he was there. He was in Vandals for a while as well,
Vandals,
wasn't he?
9 Inch Nails as well.
Yeah. He's been all over the place, and basically, I think the general feeling was, it's not. It's like he's been put out to stud. It's like, oh well, he's done all that. He doesn't have to try anymore. He's off to join the Foo Fighters. That's nice for him.
Oh, he's joined a function band. Fair enough.
Yeah, it's like all the drummers got together and went, "Oh, did you hear? Josh got taken up in the Rapture. Oh, I'm so pleased for him. just descended. Everything is fine now. You need never worry for anything again, apart from comparisons to a much beloved dead man, which that's going to be rough for a little bit. Bless him. Cool. Well, we've got 2 more questions left, and this one might be a little easier. What do you think NoFX's legacy is?
The decline.
Getting in there to make Thom sound like a copycat.
Fat Records.
Yeah.
Because it's just a legacy, isn't it? Really, it's like they wouldn't have been able to get it up and going if it wasn't for NoFX, and everything that NoFX was funneled into that for such a long time, and it's given this great roster of bands that would not have been picked up anywhere because half of them were liabilities.
Yeah.
I can't remember which band it is who spiked Fat Mike on their first meeting of him, and he was just like, "Well, it's not what you're meant to do, but I'll sign you."
I believe it was Get Dead.
Yeah.
Because of course it was. It was Sam King who was just like, guess what, guys? What? He probably found something in his pocket he didn't know he had, and was like, "I'm going to drop that in his beer." That's fucking brilliant. It is. It is sort of extreme bands. I think that's an example of Fat Mike really likes people who are more punk than him. And what he means by that is a dangerous liability.
I mean, a lot of bands have put their own stuff out in the past, but yeah, the idea that you can put your own stuff out on quite a much larger scale, and also incorporate your friends' bands into that and give them a leg up as well. I think that's a big part of the legacy, like you say, Tom.
Yeah, I think it is that. It is proper DIY because, like any band that does well enough to eat more than one meal a day, NoFX get accused of being sellouts, quite a lot for various reasons by a lot of people who don't really know what the word sellout really means. But it's like, they could have signed to a major label at any point. Well, not any point, but for quite a lot of it, they could have easily gone on to go wherever. But they were on Epitaph because they idolized Bad Religion, and Epitaph were like, "Yeah, we'll put you out." And then eventually they went, "Oh, do you know what? We can do this ourselves," and that's super exciting. And I think without that kind of thing, I don't want to put words in your guys' mouths, but the idea of being able to go and do precisely what you want to do, that idea is super powerful, and Fat Records is often one of the first really pure examples of that.
Yeah,
that you sort of encounter.
You can guarantee that Fat Mike would have got a massive kick out of putting that Descendants record out on his own label.
Yeah. Well, I think
it's really exciting.
And it's also like you were saying earlier that NoFX are like a very good second gateway band. Fat Records is also a great gateway label because it's got a wide distribution. It's everywhere, but it's still underground enough that everything that kind of stems from that and Hydra effects off from that just gets nicher and nicher and nicher.
Yeah.
I think so many underground labels, independent labels, wouldn't be the same or have the same idea of what they could achieve if Fat wasn't on the horizon.
Yeah.
And the sort of the main difference between Fat and Epitaph is these days Epitaph puts out sort of mumble rap, hyper pop, sort of all sorts of stuff. Whereas NoFX has literally been Fat Mike's own personal taste and fuck all else. And but has made it work equally, and has made it work for the bands and the label, and it does mean you can be as stubborn as you want. You can make it work if you do the work, I suppose.
Yeah.
I think it's a great answer, and I think that whole thing of just being so DIY. Yeah. Well, we come to our final question. No Money in the Bank, Tom and Andrew. Do you have a favourite member of NoFX?
El Jefe.
El Jefe.
Ooh,
Nice.
No hesitation there either.
No.
It's always the trumpet player.
Of course.
Like, it's just I liked anybody who made trumpet seem accessible to me as a kid. So it's like, because like when you play trumpet as a kid in the north of England, it's like it's marching bands and it's brassed off, it's all that sort of stuff. And
you were in that, weren't you? I seem to
I
remember hearing that.
Yeah, too many bit pop, but like seeing star band and trumpet in stuff like NoFX made it seem much more attainable in a way that you don't really get with the more classical instruments in popular music, because usually when a trumpet's in a song, it's like a John Ronson and got to polish it up with this, rather than in the early days of NoFX, certainly just some dude trying his hardest.
Yeah.
In Blast Off, the scene. Tom was in the bit where he puts his trumpet up Jason Biggs' bum. Is that different?
I would have been free.
That's a different film.
I would have been 3 years old.
I remember that scene where they were all like, "Oh, and this one time down the pit."
What was the question? Sorry.
Favorite member.
Oh yeah. Is the drummer Smelly? He's Smelly. I like him. He has a kind of air of I don't give a fuck about any of this, and he's just
yeah.
He really does. It's weird actually, because he gives the air of really not giving a fuck about it. But if you ever read their book, which I do highly recommend as a rock memoir,
it's like the bathtub one.
Hepatitis Bathtub.
Yeah.
Ideally on audio, because they all read their own chapters, and they read their own chapters. And for the previous members, Steve Adwaler and Dave Casillas, they don't get them back to they interview them for the chapters, but they have Dave Casillas is read by Tommy Chong, just so he can say Dave's not here, man. The only reason they got him for that. And Steve Kidweiler, Steve Kidweiler is his pages are read by Jello Biafra.
Oh wow! I mean,
yeah.
So
they just thought that would be fun. So but that's definitely well worth hunting down. But in it, Smelly actually talks very, very eloquently about how much NoFX means to him.
Oh.
So the fact that he manages to give off the air of really not caring is pretty fun. But yeah,
I mean, they stuck by him throughout all his heroin stuff, didn't they, I suppose.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it does seem very tight knit as a unit, which is always nice to think about. Again, I consider that to be part of their legacy as well. They've been the same lineup for 30 years.
Yeah.
And a band sort of in total for 40, with 3 core members there for the vast majority of it. That's pretty rare.
Yeah.
For some bands that only last 10 years. Some bands you look at, one album to the next, and all of the lineups are totally different.
Yeah.
Or you can go full Mad Caddies and just fire everyone. But yeah. Anyway. Cool. That's appreciate that. We've come to the end of all the questions. Do you have anything you would like to plug?
I've got a final thought about NoFX.
Oh, please, absolutely. Go ahead, Jerry.
What's the deal, right?
That's not. What was my? Oh, yeah. So have you seen the other F Word?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Great film. Fat Mike comes across as a wonderful father. But he's the only man that I've ever seen that will take a piece of toast, put it on a plate. Rather than butter it, he's got one of those squirty things, and you just squirt butter on your toast like that.
Oh.
You are the second person to bring this up on a podcast.
It's true.
I mean, yeah, unwrapped and everything, but squirty butter.
That does sound mental, to be fair.
It is quite mental. You don't forget it in a hurry. Tom Sidwell of the Midlife Punk podcast brought that up on the episode we did with those two, him and Niall. And and he was... You seem sort of fascinated in a sort of anthropological sort of interest way. He was revolted. Like, absolutely disgusted. He was like, Americans and their spray on butter. He was like considered it to be the height of lazy American decadence.
Yeah.
I bet you anything it's because he can't stand cleaning cutlery.
That would make that sound
like it's like he doesn't like cleaning cutlery. Also, all of the cutlery in his house has been used to hot knife hash.
Or some sort of S&M business has gone on with it, so you don't know if that's a bum
play.
fork or a food fork.
Well, clearly
I don't know S&M very well. Sorry.
Yeah. Clearly, the director thought it was worth keeping the shot in for whatever reason.
Yeah, really did. It was
I mean, my favourite thing about that documentary is your man from Rise Against teaching his daughter how to play Swing Life Away, and she just does not care.
Yeah. She'll have heard that song every day since she was conceived.
Yeah, she'd much rather be listening to some sort of pop music that children enjoy. No, come on, this is one of my moody songs. Yeah, all right then. It'd be really funny if she just said, "Why can't we learn Black Masks and Gasoline?"
Yeah,
it's a better song, to be fair. So, yeah. No, the other F word is kind of interesting because it is.
We should do a watch along for that on this.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, actually, that's a good idea.
I think we will definitely do an episode on it. Definitely.
We'll be doing that. We'll definitely be doing the Backstage Passport TV series and stuff like that. We might even do some commentary for special because it'd be pretty fun. But yeah, so do you have anything that you'd like to plug? You said you've got dates in Penryn and some other stuff coming up as well. This is going out like on Monday, so
brilliant. Okay,
so it's not. So it's not like we're going to be going, oh yeah, and by the way, have you got anything happening end of November?
So on September 9th, we will be down in Penryn, Cornwall at the Fish Factory, and that is with Dan Powell, Mabel Slattery, and Buster Kitten. September 3rd, we've got a music gig, just pure music, and that's the very lovely Super Friends with Perfect Teeth and Pale Sailor on support. On October 26th, we've got Valhalla at Wolf Chambers with Joe Kent Walters, Maxine Wade, and the band Character Actors. And then we've got a Christmas one on December 14th with Erin Tet, Awkward Clown, and the Latchkey Kids. And also, we've got a series of releases coming up on Init Records within the next few weeks, but I don't have those written down in front of me. But Mark would be aghast if I didn't mention it. So
send them over. I'll put them in the description. So if you want to find out what those tantalizingly teased releases are,
we definitely have new singles from Trouble Sleeping coming out on Saturday. I know about this Saturday, so they will be out now. Go listen to Trouble Sleeping, lovely state punk from Sheffield.
Also, Nottingham Comedy Festival is when November.
Mm-hmm.
Nottingham Comedy Festival, November. I want to say.
Yeah, I think it is November. Yeah.
Is that a no money show or are those solo shows?
They are solo shows. That's No Money show is going to be at Leicester, but we haven't sorted it yet.
Yeah,
gotcha.
But that's everything. It's a lot. I keep telling people that I'm not very busy, and then I read it out, and I'm like, oh dear.
How it goes sometimes. Well, we'll put all of the details of those. If you got a link tree or something, we'll sling that.
It's on the
perfect. Yeah. We'll sling that in the description if you want to see No Money in the Bank. Or what's wonderful is if you only liked one of them, you can find out where just one of them is doing stuff. So,
but don't do that.
I thought that might have got a laugh. I didn't actually mean it. Never mind.
Fairness, we do go everywhere. We live together. We go everywhere together. There's no way. If you don't like one of us, there's no avoiding the other.
That's true. If you don't love me at my Thom, you don't deserve me at my Andrew.
That's a great show title.
Have it, please. It's no good to me. I'm not called either of those things. So thank you ever so much, No Money in the Bank, Andrew and Thom. You truly are members of the Punk Rock Elite. We really appreciate you spending the evening with us.
Yes, thank you very much.
Been a lot of time.
Fun.
Cool. Take care now. We'll see. Red and I will see you all in the outro. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And there you have it. That's what happens when a Thom meets an Andrew and they become friends.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's really lovely to see in the wild.
Isn't it? Yeah. Sometimes because Andrews and Toms, do they normally mix? Ironically, Thom and Jerry do, but we've covered a lot of Jerrys today. So there you go. Do go and check out Valhalla of Decadence, which is the name of their comedy and music nights, wherever they pop up. It's a great thing. I've enjoyed seeing them working on this from afar, and the fact that it's working, the fact that it's happening is super exciting and should be applauded and rewarded.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Got anything to let people know about, Red?
Have I? I think I'm just going to plug the pantomime again. Do you have kids? Do you live in the Manchester area? Do you enjoy theatre for all ages? The pantomime that we put on is like a genuinely good show that has something for people as like kids as young as 5 and adults as old as dead. And it
bring some dead people.
Yeah. And it's
half price.
It's a smaller production. We don't have any like big celebrities in it or anything like that, but it's by no means a cheap production, and it's certainly not an amateur production. It's proper professional pantomime as it should be done. And yeah, we've got a cast full of quite young dancers. So like what I quite like about our pantomime is if you do bring kids to see it, they'll also see kids on stage being a part of the show. And if you have any young'uns that are like interested in getting into theatre and the performing arts, I think it's a really fun and inspiring show for young people to see.
I believe last review read very strong junior chorus. I don't know if it did, but I know the term for group of children who are brought out for the dancing in a pantomime. It's just the inside knowledge you get from being a thespian, you'll see. So yeah, well, it does sound good, and we're recording this, admittedly, the last day of August, but August nonetheless, to talk about a pantomime. So timing, as always, brilliant. But yeah, that's cool. I don't think I've got much to talk about on this particular week, so we'll just call it there. Thank you ever so much, Red.
Thank you, Eddie.
We'll see you all later. Do let people know about it. Give us a like, give us a review. And most of all, take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Absolutely. See you soon. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to Punk Rock Elite. It was a Pick Scraped and Fruitcake co-production by Eddie French and Red Redmond. If you're not following us on Instagram or subscribed to the podcast, please do. The main theme and production was done by Eddie French. Please contact us at punkrockelitepodcast@gmail.com. Thank you.